most of all to Michael Winterbottom, who returns to Toronto after having brought so many films here for you over the years. A remarkable filmmaker whose work you may well know. Man who was born in Blackburn, Lancashire, which was, I think, made famous in that Beatles song. He's made a number of films that have come here, including Jude back in 1996, Wonderland in 1999, In This World in 2002, Tristram Shandy, A Cock and Bull Story, Summer in Genoa, The Trip in 2010, one of my very favorites, The Wedding Guest, and Greed is his most recent film. His films span the gamut, from comedy to very serious drama, to genre films in some cases as well. What I find unites nearly all of his work is there's a very strong sense of justice and a very strong sense of the absurd. And Greed is the film where both of those sensibilities come together. When you see it, you'll know exactly what I mean. He's put together a remarkable cast, led by Steve Coogan and also Isla Fisher, who's in the film, brilliant actors. And he's come to introduce the film to you this evening. Please join me in welcoming Michael Winterbottom.
Thanks for that introduction. I just want to say, first of all, thank you to Sony Film Fall for financing the film, and for Sony Picture Classics for choosing to release it in North America. But I want to say a real special thank you to Cameron and to Toronto for selecting it to come here. It's a real honour and a pleasure to be here to show the film as a world premiere here. As Cameron said, I think the first time I came here was more than 25 years ago, so I've been coming here a lot of times. I think over the years it's got more and more important as an independent filmmaker to have the support of festivals like Toronto and people like Cameron. So really genuinely thank you for inviting the film. I'd like to introduce one or two people who have worked on the film. First of all, the producer, Parmenter. And the actors, Christophe de Choisy and Manolis Emmanuel. Isla and Steve Coogan. I think there's going to be a Q&A after it, so I'm not just going to say much of that from the front. But what I would just like to say briefly is that Cameron pointed out that there's quite a lot of absurd things in the film, and the film is a fiction. Steve's character is Richard McCree's official character. But the starting point was a real person who is a famous fashion retail tycoon in Britain. And no matter how absurd things are in the film, in the real world they're even more absurd and more extreme. Thank you.
This film, one of the things that really struck us is incredible about it is it mixes so many of your different kind of cinematic modes. A lot of the comedy plays like some of the Trip films, but it deals with the heavy themes of some of the more, politically savvy work that you've made. And I was wondering why you chose to mix those things together now in this film.
The starting point was really, I was talking to a journalist about something else completely, and he told me a few stories about his connections, the experiences he had with a guy called Philip Green. And Philip Green owns top man and various other brands in Britain, and had just been before the select committee. And he told me that he's a very large and live character. The stories I was told were quite funny, and it seemed like maybe the career of someone like that, so Richard McCree obviously is fictional, but the career of someone like that, spanning the last 40 years, could be, would be an interesting way of looking at what's happened in the last 40 years and the massive growth of inequality in the last 40 years, but being able to do it in a kind of way that'd be funny.
And I was wondering, because that comedy plays so rich and off the cuff, for all three of you, was there a lot of improvisation? Was it kind of free in that way? Because it is tightly scripted in terms of scenes, but so much of it feels so naturalistic.
Yeah, I feel like we all, sorry, it's my beard. I feel like we all have the opportunity to improvise, but it is just, yeah, and obviously for me, the opportunity to improvise with someone like Steve Coogan, who I've always been a monster fan of. Not now that I know him, obviously.
You couldn't wait, could you, to see that together? Yeah, there's certainly a little bit of improvisation, but it was fairly scripted. I mean, only little bits of improvisation, but mainly it was a fully fledged script.
Oh yeah, it was a very, very moving script. I mean, I cried when I read the script for the first time.
Did you?
Yeah, because you were going to be in it. It was grieving.
It's fun. Yes, it's a strange working. I mean, I've done 8 films with Michael, and there's never kind of I mean, from my point of view, when I'm in my hand, just to do what I'm told and say what I'm supposed to say. And, but tonally, I like the fact that his films they're sometimes funny and they're sometimes tragic, and sometimes they're just provocative and thought-provoking, and that's what I like about film. I think is the ability to sort of, well, I mean, the main thing about film, I think I'm really happy about is that it's thought-provoking, but it's not done in a kind of a sanctimonious way. It's quite entertaining, but then
It's the human cost of fast fashion, which is something we all, as particularly women, we want to look nice and feel good, but it's just, how can we do that ethically? We don't need a ninth pair of shoe at the cost of, someone getting paid that wage.
So the question was, given that cost of fast fashion, what were your recommendations for?
I can just say, I don't think that we have any recommendations. I think that if something good comes out of the film, it should be that where many other issues, important cultural issues like gender identity and race and all the things that we're talking about now. The one topic that isn't being spoken about is the huge disparity between the rich and the poor, and the cost of and that kind of exploitation that goes on that isn't spoken about. So really, I think all we're saying with the film is that it ought to be spoken about. We're not saying
we're not attacking the consumer. We're attacking the system.
Yeah, and really, it's one of those things that isn't spoken about. Other things are being spoken about now, other difficult topics, but this is something that is sort of, I think, is the elephant in the room, which is just poverty. And all we're doing is shining a light on it and saying, let's make this part of this the sort of the discussions, the conversation. But we're not sort of saying here's it would be a fool's errand to say this is what we literally should be done about it.
The question was, is some of that footage actually real? Was it pulled? Was it found footage? Or is it staged in those factories?
So the main factories in the film, main factories in Sri Lanka are real factories. Yes, and the women working in those factories are obviously real women working in factories. The way they go, where Nick, the barring figure, is taken back to see the living kind of where they live. That's the real place, and they are real workers that work in factories making clothes for all the famous brands, international brands, and those are the real wages you get. The one stage one was the one where the fire takes place. That wage is supposed to have lost a job in the sort of internationally recognised factories, and gets a job in a kind of cheaper, worse sweatshop. So that was staged. But all the rest are the real workers, the real factories, and the wages to get. That's what is quite shocking is that the owner of H&M is worth $22 billion. But the workers who make his clothes, which make his money, get paid about $5 or $6 a day, and that's true across all brands. It's not like in the individual brand, every single brand is the same. So you have these extremely rich, incredibly rich billionaires. The owner of Zara is worth about $60 billion, but the women who make his clothes get paid $4 or $5 a day to make the clothes, and that's what the idea of the film was to try and show. As it says, well, the refugees are, of course, real refugees as well. But so they are Syrian refugees. They are in Greece at the moment. Karim, as it says, arrived on the day he arrived, and he is still in Greece. One family that are in the film are now in Germany, but most of them are still in Greece.
Did the ethical message of the film affect the production of the film in terms of the costuming, etc.?
I think the costume department did try and make sure everything was as ethically sourced as possible, but that's one of the problems, to go back to an earlier question, that it's very, very hard if you buy clothes to know what conditions they've been made in, what the ways being paid. I think when you walk into a shop, whether it's a Top Shop or H&M's or whatever shop, you see images of glamorous models, you see famous people endorsing brands, but what you don't know, what you don't see the pictures of, the women who made the clothes and how much you get paid, and it's very, very hard to know. Just because you're buying a more expensive item of clothing or whatever, doesn't mean to say you're necessarily giving a better wage to the workers. I know it's true, I saw figures which said that if you doubled the wages of these workers, so if you doubled their wages, it would make the difference of a few cents in the price of a shirt or a dress. So you could easily double their wages without really having an impact on the consumer end. But it's very, very hard to know. So the most ethical thing, obviously, is to use second-hand clothes and so on, but it's very hard in the real world to know what you're supposed to do.
I'd like to add to that is that the discussion, for example, that we have about environmental concerns, that we all have this open discussion now about how we behave environmentally in terms of recycling and all the rest of it. That conversation has been going on for some time now, but but the conversation about this kind of exploitation, and also the fact that we have this industry that encourages this disposability of wanting to not wear last season's clothes and have this new demand every season. That discussion, the environmental impacts of that, is something that's not been discussed. And what happens is, because of the vested interest of these people, is they distract you from having that conversation by having lots of celebrities, and these big parties, and have lots of shiny distractions, so that we don't have that discussion. They don't want us to talk about it because it's awkward.
The question was, how did you prepare for the role, and is there a specific person you're emulating, or maybe people, or
Yeah, Philip Green. I mean, I don't look like Philip Green. I wasn't prepared to put on that much weight, and we didn't have that much money for that much prosthetic makeup. So it's
There are lots of Philip Green.
But it's, I mean, yes. But the thing is, the character of him. The thing about Philip Green, in some ways, you could say, is that his overt nature is more honest than the more clandestine people who do exactly the same thing as him. He's just sort of sticks his head above the parapet. In fact, makes the point that he's not the only comfortable person. But it's sort of, I mean, he's a larger-than-life character, so we based a lot of it on him. He wants to make the character entertaining, and he is whatever you think about, a charismatic figure. So it's quite a good person to base it on. But my look was based on, actually someone called Richard Caring, who has super white teeth and Googling. So the teeth are based on Richard Caring, but the rest of it is based on well, I think it's dangerous to judge your character, because if you start making an outside judgment like I want to play a horrible person, I think you end up coming in cropper. You have to believe that the character, which is partly based on Green and lots of other people, but really it's just like he has to believe in what he's doing, and believe in himself. So you can't. So the answer is no. Although I personally have sort of moral and ethical problems with that part of that sort of behaviour. I didn't do that when I was playing it. No, I had to believe in myself and believe that it was right. It's dangerous to judge your character.
I'm afraid we're going to have to hand over the theatre, but I want to thank all three of you for coming.